Hello, everyone. This is the God of 0,000, and let's get this the heck over with. Dragon Ball Evolution. As promised, I'm going to give my 2 cents on this. This is the part where just about everyone on the internet tells you that Dragon Ball Evolution is the worst piece of expletive ever made, and that the writers, director, and all the actors should be burned. So, here's my opinion of Dragon Ball Evolution. Dragon Ball Evolution is not a half-bad movie. Go ahead, flame me, unsubscribe, do whatever you want. But Dragon Ball Evolution is not as bad as people say. That's a quarter in the swear jar. Honestly, I don't know why more people don't. And that's exactly why I've got something to say about Dragon Ball Evolution. See, this is why I didn't want to review this movie. Because there's an irrational hatred of this movie, and I don't know why. Fine then, if you feel so strongly about it, why do you hate Dragon Ball Evolution? Oh yeah, I've heard this one before. Dragon Ball Evolution gets the plot all wrong. So tell me, if you really believe this, exactly how much of Dragon Ball have you seen? Exactly. You've seen Dragon Ball Z, not Dragon Ball. If you actually took the time to watch the series, you'd find it does not stray from the plot. You would find that it actually covers the first part of season 1 and all of season 4, the King Piccolo arc. They even have little details like the Kamehameha punch. Granted, it's slightly adapted, but that's straight from the series. There are only two major differences. Mm-hmm. That's the one everyone always seems to cite. And I've got a few problems with that as a complaint. For starters, how many of you out there are fanfic writers and put random shows in high school anyway? But the reason that they did it the way they did was because of how the original Kakarot was written. The original Kakarot grew up only ever seeing his grandpa Gohan. So most of the jokes involving him interacting with other people were him touching people in appropriate places. And I don't mean the chests. Yeah. Remember when I said this series is perverted? I mean, it was really, really perverted. The Kakarot that Justin Chatwin was given to play was a Kakarot that grew up in suburbia, and he played that character well. Honestly, I prefer this version of Kakarot anyway, because I'm not a fan of idiot protagonists, no matter how charming they may be. The only other big difference that nobody ever seems to notice is that Piccolo killed Gohan instead of Kakarot. And that I don't mind so much because of the way the story was paced. There are also some minor plot alterations that I think are just as interesting as the original, probably because of the original. The best example of one of these is how Kakarot proposes the partnership with Bulma, rather than the other way around. So, as you can see, if you actually took the time to, pay attention, there's nothing wrong with the Dragon Ball Evolution plot. Okay, well, maybe not nothing, but, Oh, that's a good one. First off, I'd like to see anyone say that to Ms. Rosen's face. Secondly, that's a matter of opinion only. That goes for both the actresses and both of the anime characters. To that end, I normally like blue hair on anime women, but Bulma never really did it for me. On the other hand, Chi-Chi, when she fought Kakarot at the World Tournament, looked absolutely striking. And that's actually the age that the Dragon Ball Evolution characters were going for, around 18. But again, this is solely an opinion. Both of the actresses were certainly lovely, and you can't really fault someone for your looks. Well, technically you can, but it, makes you a douchebag. Yeah, I've heard this one a few times before. Oh, Bulma has a gun. Bulma has a gun. Bulma never had a. Oh, wait! Bulma with a gun! This isn't a joke or a gag or something. She actually has a gun. Granted, she doesn't use it often and never very effectively, but if she didn't have a way to get into the action, she would have just been a superfluous character, just there to hand over the Dragon Radar and there to make the fans happy. I'll get to that. Oh, I was hoping you'd bring that one up. The statement that Goku should have been Asian is, in fact, an opinion. Thereby, it cannot be wrong, because no opinion can be wrong. However, an opinion can be stupid. The opinion that the guy who played Kakarot should have been Asian is the dumbest reason to hate Dragon Ball Evolution I have ever heard. Tell me, does this look Asian to you? I didn't think so! Toriyama, like all smart anime and manga artists, know that if their series is successful, it will be brought to America and dubbed. They also know how extremely xenophobic people in the United States are. God bless America, but we hate foreigners, so I'll ignore the irony of that for now. Besides, Kakarot's not Asian, he's an alien. Literally. And I'll ignore the irony of that for now as well. Also, since most of you probably left within the first 5 minutes and thereby didn't see the credits, Akira Toriyama produced this! He had the final say on everything! They really can't get anything wrong, quote-unquote. So, Toriyama signed off on Justin Chatwin playing Kakarot. People, stop complaining. But for all the defense I've given Dragon Ball Evolution, do I think it's the next Spirited Away? No. The movie has its fair share of flaws, and I honestly think it could have been a lot better if they tried just a little bit harder. The thing that gets me every time, though, is that the things that the movie actually does get wrong, none of its critics ever mention. For example, the first thing I noticed were that all the scenes shot in rocky areas were clearly shot on stage, and they looked pretty bad for it. Which is sad, because my second and third favorite action scenes were shot in locations like that. Also, that "the test of 7 has been completed" line. God. If the rest of the movie was like that, it really would have been as bad as people say. Also, there are a few minor mispronunciations, like Kami instead of Kame. The only crummy thing about the movie that someone actually caught was Yamcha. He was really bad. Sorry, guy, but it just wasn't your best performance. I hope. But all in all, it wasn't that terrible. I put it somewhere between Dragon Ball Kai and GT. Watchable, but not fanaticable. Whatever. And I have actually rewatched the movie many times. Oh, of course not. People intentionally set their expectations too high, knowing that they'd hate it. They'd find ways to hate it if it was the Casablanca of anime. Invisible Sidekick. Never, ever mention that movie again.